Hello, Professor. We're at Group 4. Our team members are Wei Ling, Chloe, Cui Niyuan, and me, Dian Yaoxuan. Our report has 4 parts: hypothesis, data analysis, research findings, and finally the conclusion. And now, let us start with the hypothesis.
This report examines whether educational level affects satisfaction and psychological well-being. 2 sets of core hypotheses are proposed through ANOVA analysis. The first group focuses on the relationship between educational level and satisfaction, with the null hypothesis suggesting that there is no significant association between the two, and the alternative hypothesis stating that educational level may significantly enhance psychological well-being. The second group stresses the relationship between educational level and psychological well-being. Again, the hypothesis attempting to verify whether education has a positive effect on psychological well-being. The significance of this study is to reveal the social value of education, not only a means of acquiring knowledge and skills, but also a possible key factor in improving the overall quality of life. Next, we will talk about the data analysis.
We can see there are a total of 216 people, including 106 males and 110 females. The gender description was nearly equal, with no significant difference. And for the educational level, there are 152 undergraduates, 48 masters, and 16 doctors. The main part is undergraduates, and the higher education is less than 30%. And we can see the descriptive statistic. The average age of adolescents is 14.25 years old, and the data set is concentrated. The mental health means is 22.52, with individual differences is large. And the average satisfaction is 23.13. This is more dispersed. And we can see the age of adolescents is concentrated, but the individual differences in mental health and satisfaction are significant.
This table is the type of normality for 152 undergraduates, 48 masters, and 16 doctoral students. In terms of life satisfaction, the Karpov-Smirnov test showed that the undergraduate data significantly deviated from the normal distribution, a result that was highly statistically significant. In contrast, the satisfaction data for master's students and the doctoral students were fully consistent with the normal distribution. This difference in distributional characteristics may reflect a particular pattern in satisfaction ratings for the undergraduate group. It is noteworthy that the well-being scores of our group showed good normality characteristics. Consistency provides a reliable mental health assessment database.
This table analyzes 3 educational groups: undergraduates, master's students, and doctoral students, focusing on their difference in psychological well-being and satisfaction. The key data shows that in psychological well-being, doctoral students scored the highest. Undergraduate students were in the middle, where master's students had the lowest scores. In satisfaction, undergraduates had the highest average. Doctoral students were in the middle, and master's students scored the lowest again. This reveals initial difference in well-being and satisfaction among the group. Now, let's look deeper into some important findings. First, the score range. Doctoral students had the widest range in satisfaction, while undergraduates and master's students had the same lowest score. For well-being, master's students had the vastest range, meaning their happiness varied a lot. Doctoral students had a higher minimal score, suggestion fear with very low well-being. Next, confidence intervals. The data shows all average fall within the 95 confidence interval, confirming the data's reliability. Finally, the meaning this difference shows that each group face different emotional challenges. For example, doctoral students may feel happier but only moderately satisfied. Undergraduates are most satisfied, while master's students scores lower in both.
A Levene's test was conducted to assess the assumption of homogeneity or variance for both satisfaction and psychological well-being. So the F value for satisfaction was 1.243 with a p-value of 0.291, whereas for psychological well-being, the p-value was 0.631. So the p-value must be more than 0.05 to conclude that the variances are equal. The result indicated that assumptions for satisfaction levels and psychological well-being was met. So these findings suggest that the variance in both dependent variables were approximately equal across educational groups, thereby justifying the use of one-way ANOVA for further analysis. The result for satisfaction here was 2.845 with a p-value of 0.060. This indicated there was no statistically significant difference among three educational groups. Although there were some variation observed between groups, the differences did not meet the conventional level of statistical significance. In contrast, the ANOVA results for psychological well-being indicated a significant effect of educational level with a p-value of 0.003. So most of the variance in psychological well-being was attributed to within-group variability, while between-group differences accounted for a smaller, yet still statistically significant portion. So given these findings, further post-hoc analysis were conducted to identify specific group differences in psychological well-being. A Tukey HSD post-hoc test was conducted to examine pairwise differences in psychological well-being across educational groups. So the results indicated a significant difference between undergraduate and master degrees holder with a mean difference of 3.553 and a p-value of 0.005. Thus, undergraduates indicated a higher psychological well-being. However, there were no significance between undergraduate and PhD students. Similarly, PhD students reported a significantly higher psychological well-being than master students with a p-value of 0.020. So these findings suggest that psychological well-being is lower among master's degree holders compared to both the undergraduate and PhD participants. We can also note that whereas there was no significance between undergraduate and PhD participants, we can also note that the confidence intervals for significant comparisons did not include 0. Hence, it confirms the statistical reliability of our data. So next one, we will move on to the research findings.
Yearly, data shows most variable like mental health and satisfaction follow normal distribution, but one exception. Undergraduate satisfaction scores are not normal. This may mean skewed data or outliers. This normal distribution may reflect unique factors in undergraduates. It makes us think these data traits may affect analysis methods, so we must choose statistical methods carefully to ensure accurate and scientific results.
I will introduce the summary or the findings for one-way ANOVA and post-hoc comparisons. So our result indicated no statistically significant difference in satisfaction level across the educational groups. While the descriptive table did suggest some variations, they were not strong enough to meet conventional statistical significance. So this implies that satisfaction may not be strongly dependent on educational achievements. Hence, these aspects could be influenced by other components such as career aspects, financial stability, and social support or personal circumstances. The ANOVA results for psychological well-being did indicate a significant effect of educational level. Specifically, in the postdoc test, we found that master degrees holders reported a significantly lower psychological well-being compared to both undergraduates and PhD participants. However, no significant differences were identified between undergraduate and PhD participants. Hence, the results conclude that master's students experience a lower psychological well-being compared to the other two groups.
Studies have shown that there are significant differences in well-being and satisfaction among students at different educational levels. Among the master students have the lowest level of well-being, much lower than the graduate and doctoral students. While master students under the most pressure, first of all, they need to cope with intense coursework, as well as the uncertainty of their future career development. There is light social support at this stage, and many master students are prone to feel isolated as they move from classroom learning to independent research, leading to lower life satisfaction. In contrast, undergraduate students were in better psychological condition due to stable social circles, while doctoral students were more psychologically resilient due to clear academic goals and pursuit sports, despite high research pressure. In addition, the uncertainty of career planning exacerbated the psychological burden of master students, where undergraduates do not have to face employment anxiety for the time being, and doctoral students are more suitable due to long-term career planning. Master students happen to be at a critical turning point and are particularly stressed.
I will introduce some practical suggestions. For master's students, we can provide psychological counseling, suggestion management courses, and career planning. And also we can customize support plans to enhance their resilience and satisfaction. For undergraduates, we can establish mental health program and build interest-based community to foster their belongings. And for future research, we can increase sample size for generalizable insights, use mixed method research such as interviews, long-term studies, and we can also use analyze interaction, for example, academic pressures, social supports, and financial factors. And now we can conclude. Overall, educational level significantly impact mental health, and master's students show more serious psychological problems. In the future, we can make a cross-disciplinary collaboration and long-term study to build a more inclusive academic ecosystem.
Thank you for listening.